Welcome to the Calling Podcast. I am Ava, and we have a guest here named...
I prefer not to say.
Skaila. And today we're going to be talking about the cure for anxiety. But, first we got to get into our view on, religion and stuff like that. So, what's your take on religion to the people who, don't know you?
But, basically, I'm Catholic, but I, believe in Christian perspective. I just, go by Catholic because my whole family is Catholic. But I obviously believe in Jesus, but I'm also, kind of iffy about it because I'm the type of person that kind of needs, proof to know that he was alive.
So, like I said before, we had to, restart this podcast episode because things happen. But, yeah, if we are looking up beside a camera. But, anyways, so usually a lot of people nowadays want proof and evidence that Jesus was real. But the thing is, he already kind of proved us to that he's real. And he still kind of proves us to this day that he's real. The conviction that you were telling me about earlier, I believe that also is from God. Whether you have the Holy Spirit in you or you don't, I believe that is from God. Because when I was in 5th grade, I still had conviction for the bad things I did. And I didn't have God's Spirit resting in me. I didn't have a spirit in me. Yeah. But it was like his hand was still over my life to say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. We need to work on that. Yeah. So, I think that's also, my take, Yeah. But, do you have anxiety?
More than a person should.
I think we all do. Anxiety is kind of one of the main struggles, and depression with teenagers. And Jesus teaches us in Luke, he says in Luke 12:22, then he said to his disciples, therefore I tell you, don't worry about your life, what you will eat, or about the body, what you will wear, for life is more than food and body more than clothing. Therefore it's telling us, he's telling us, don't worry. That's, I heard from Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell, freaking love him, man. But he said, that's a commandment that Jesus says to give us. Do not worry. This, and he doesn't say it out of oh, I'm ashamed of you if you worry. He doesn't say it out of that. He says it out of a loving way. He does as a father, he doesn't want to see his child worry. He made you beautifully in his image. And so to see you worry, I know it probably just kind of breaks his heart.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It says, consider the ravens. They don't sow or reap. They don't have a storeroom or a barn, yet God feeds them. Aren't you worth much more than the birds? Can any of you add one moment to his lifespan by worrying? If then you're not able to do even a little thing, why worry about the rest? So right there it says, yet God feeds them. Aren't you much more than the birds? So when you look outside, right, and you see the birds flying and stuff like that, you can see, they're never hungry. They always have food provided to them by him. They always, they're fruitful and they multiply, So if we're much more valuable than the birds, imagine how much God loves us. He loves us more than the birds, And the thing is, we have his imprint on our lives, something that the birds don't have. Yeah. And when it says, can any of you add one moment to his last man by worrying? Worrying isn't going to get you anywhere. It's not going to accomplish you anything. But stress, anxiety, depression, insecureness, just all these different things that shouldn't be, produced in your life. So I think that's also what he's meaning. So when he's telling us, don't worry, how do you not worry is you trust him. You say, okay, when you develop that relationship with him, you're like, okay, I trust you. I don't need to worry because I know I'm in the palm of your hands and I trust that you will take good care of me. You continue to surrender to him on a daily basis and you'll start to have that peace that you haven't felt before, with worrying and striving for all these different things in the world. What's your opinions on that?
I think that kind of it makes more sense. I feel people that would read this part of the Bible, that line, it would help people that are struggling and stuff because it knows that it's helping basically.
Yeah, and then it says, consider how the wildflowers grow. They don't labor or spin thread, yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was adorned like one of these. If that's how God clothes the grass, which is in the field today and is thrown into the furnace tomorrow, how much more will he do for you? Like how we've seen that, how the grass, you know, you see it's always like healthy and stuff like that because God takes care of it. You know, he's just proving to us, he's like, how much more do I love you? I take care of the grass. I take care of the trees. I take care of the birds. I take care of the sparrows. I take care of the ravens. How much more will I take care of you? Because we mean much more to him than the birds and the grass and the trees. And then it says, you have little faith. Don't strive for what you should eat and what you should drink, and don't be anxious. For the Gentile world eagerly seeks all these things, and your Father knows that you need them. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be provided for you. Don't be afraid, little flock, because your Father delights to give you the kingdom. So right there, what he's saying is don't strive. Like, don't strive for these worldly things, like, you know, relationships and sin and all these worldly things that I used to strive for. Don't strive for that. Because if I love you this much to lay down my life for you, you don't have to strive anymore. You don't have to hurt. You don't have to worry. You don't have to be anxious anymore because I've already took that punishment on the cross, you know? So when he teaches us that and when he breaks it down to us, it's like, I love you more than these. So why do you love, you know, these worldly activities more than me, you know? And when it says, but seek his kingdom and these things will be provided for you. But like when you seek his face and his beauty first before anything else in the world, when he's the only thing that satisfies you in this life, all these things will be provided for you. Because when you put your faith and trust in him, then he will put, you know, he'll add it to you. And he says, don't be afraid, little flock, because your Father delights to give you the kingdom. You know, like, don't be afraid to ask God for certain things. He's nothing is too heavy for God to handle. Don't be afraid to ask God, like, am I going to heaven? No, just don't be afraid to ask him because he delights to answer you. He delights to give you the kingdom. He delights to give you words of knowledge from his mouth. And, you know, but it's kind of like, he's just kind of telling us don't worry, and to not worry is to trust in him. To trust in him is to obey him. To obey him is to respect him. Like this, it all connects. It all connects. And, you know, there's been some moments in my life where I struggle with anxiety. Like, for example, with schoolwork.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes I strive for friendships. Sometimes I strive for relationships. You know, but then I start to remember, like, God is the only thing in this life that I want, that I eagerly seek for. So if I'm just searching for him, and if I'm just seeking him, then all these things will be added to me, that I don't have to worry anymore. I'll get that godly relationship when he says it's time. I'll get those friendships when he says it's time. I'll get these things when he says it's time, because he already promised that. But has there been any moments in your life where you struggle with anxiety?
Like, a lot of things, like, for example, like, obviously school is a big part of it, because, like, I feel like everybody's anxious in school. And then also, like, family and stuff, like, just family things, like, it makes me anxious. Just, like, a lot of things, like, I have, like, really bad social anxiety. I know, like, sometimes, like, a lot of people that know me, it's, like, because I'm very open to them. But, like, if I don't know you or I've never met you, oh my gosh, I'm out of breath. I'm the quietest person you'll ever meet. And I, like, hate meeting new people. So that's, like, makes me anxious, like, meeting new people and stuff. So those are, like, some of the main reasons. But there's, like, a couple more.
Yeah, I'd say we all kind of struggle with that, like meeting new people and stuff like that. I'll tell you a moment where I was anxious. It was actually today. God was calling me to speak to somebody that I've never spoken to before. I'd never known this girl, and I knew it was him because, you know, when he has the spirit in you, you kind of tell what is him and what isn't. But I was in Caroline, and this girl, I noticed that she always sits alone, and she always looks sad. Like, nobody talks to her. And I was sitting there, I was like, man. And then today or whatever, it was kind of like, he was like, I want you to go talk to her. But I was like, no, I don't want to. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I wanted to obey him, but I did not want to do it because I was so anxious and I was so scared because I was like, well, what if she has AirPods in? What if she can't hear me? What if this? What if this? What is this? I was so worried about these certain things that haven't even happened yet. That's what Jesus says, like, don't worry about the future. I was worried about the future. Even if it was only 2 seconds ahead of me. I was like, oh my goodness, like, what if this, what if this? Like, that's what he tells us not to do. Don't be like, what if this, what if, because that causes you to overthink. That causes you to have anxiety. That causes you to have depression. That's literally the key to those things. And, he's like, don't take that key. Throw it. Don't take it. And anyways, so I was sitting there and I was like, man, I don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. But out of obedience to him, I did. And I'm so glad I did. We had a good talk. But that was just kind of a moment in my life where I was anxious. I was scared. I didn't want to do it, But I just kind of wanted to obey him. But there's been other moments in my life where I've been so anxious about things and scared. And I still get anxious to this day, But that's kind of like, yeah. I say, I don't know, did I ever tell you I think I probably did.
About what?
I did. I know I did. It was when, God was like, why are you running away from me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you that. But, I don't think I told you all this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you all this. So there was a moment in my life, it was actually only last year, and I was struggling with this, it was this deep struggle. And it was just thoughts and stuff like that. It was overwhelming. And I remember, I'd kind of been running away from God because I was kind of like frustrated with him. Because I was like, you haven't healed me of this yet. You haven't taken this away from me. You have the authority to take this away, but you say no. Why do you want me to go through this? And I remember I was on my knees one night and I had my AirPods in and I was playing music. And I was like, I was calling out to him. I was like, so this is what you do? You're going to ignore me? You're going to walk away from me? You don't want to listen to me? Okay. And I got up. And I usually lock my door while I'm worshiping because that's just, And I had my hand on the doorknob, and as I was about to unlock it, I closed my eyes, and it's like I zoned out. Like I wasn't hearing the music anymore. I was just zoned out. And all of a sudden, there was all these thoughts that was just rolling and rolling in my mind of Jesus and little children, Jesus and little children, Jesus and little children. And then all I heard in the middle of that was, why are you running away from me? Why are you trying to do this on your own? And after that, I was like, I could hear the music again, and I fell down to my knees in complete, like, I was sorry. I felt so guilty for, running away from him. But at that moment, he was like, this is how he talks to not just me, but to every single one of us. Like, why are you running away from me? Like, I'm supposed to be the cure. I'm supposed to be the person that helps you and guides you and loves you and adores you. Like, I'm supposed to be this person, but you're looking for this and so many other things that are not me. And this is what I mean by he's my only satisfaction, the only thing I want, because he's the only thing that can fulfill me. He's the only thing that can satisfy me, that I adore. So when he's talking to us, like, why are you running away from me? What he's saying is like, why aren't you leaning on me? Like, why don't you believe in me? Why don't you trust me? Has there been any, like, how do I explain this? What do you think cures your anxiety?
I mean, I don't think, like, anything, like, at least for me, nothing really, like, cures it. But, like, I don't know, I guess just, like, I don't know. I feel like, okay, this might sound really stupid, but it works for me. It's, like, a technique. I just start, like, thinking about everything I'm anxious of. Like, I make myself more anxious. It's a trusted process. So basically, I start, like, for example, if I'm, like, thinking, like, oh, one of my friends are gonna, like, they're mad at me. I'm just thinking of, like, all these things. I start making myself think about it. I'm like, oh, why is she mad at me? Why is she mad at me? Why is she mad at me? Like, did I do something and stuff like that? And then at the end of all of that, I'm like, everything is gonna be like, okay, like, you didn't do any of this. Like, you didn't do anything that could have happened. Like, I just kind of, like, comfort myself because I don't really have anybody comfort me. comfort me, actually, like, my mom doesn't comfort me, my dad doesn't comfort me, like, nobody. So I usually just, like, comfort myself and, like, try to make me feel better.
What, like comforting yourself?
Yeah, like, I kind of, like, make myself more and more anxious so I can just, like, get everything off my head. Like, the things that are on the top of my head, I bring it to my attention and I just start talking about like, thinking about it. And so basically, just technically, like, thinking really helps. Like,
I have a good question. What have you ever considered giving your life to Jesus? And if so, when?
so this is gonna sound really bad,
No,
but I've never really thought about it because I just don't see myself being like that. Like, I believe in him and everything, and it's not like I don't believe him. Like, I'm not a hater, obviously. Like, I obviously love him, but I have not really considered it because I just don't see myself being that type of person. I'm not that type of person. I've never been religious. I know it can change and stuff, but I've never really been religious, and I don't plan on carrying that in the future. Like, I don't plan on going to church every Sunday. Like, I go to church. Sorry. I go to church on sometimes, on special occasions and stuff. But I wouldn't be the type of person to go to church and stuff. But it's not like I would be a hater either. Like, I still believe. I just don't really show it. Like, I don't express it, but I believe still.
And I remember, I want to tell you the story. That just based on my perspective, kind of relating to what you said about you didn't think you're the type of person, stuff like that. And I don't know, you may never end up being that type of person. I don't know. But I remember I used to be like that. I'm just gonna tell you now, she was there, 4th grade and 5th grade, worst years of my life.
Yeah,
she was.
Well, now she doesn't do anything bad and stuff.
Yes, I do.
Well, now
I mean, I still sin, but
you don't do anything that you did before. She is the curse and everything.
Yeah, I was no angel, but I kind of remember not really taking Jesus seriously. He was never a serious factor in my life. Okay, I can do this on my own. That's how we thought. I can do this on my own. I've survived long enough. I got this. It went downhill, And what I realized is that when you are not satisfying your soul with Jesus, then you're not satisfying it at all. And that comes with straight honesty. Is that when you're not satisfying your soul, then you're satisfying your flesh. And that is your sin. And that is what Jesus tells us not to satisfy. And, when I think like that and when I speak like that, it just reminds me that, when Jesus wants us to draw near to him, he wants us to go to him. Yeah. And when he says, come to me, all who weary and who are heavy laden, come to me and I will give you rest. This is his promise to us. Whoever here is tired and whoever here is weary and sad and anxious about the future and everything, come, go to him. Because he promises that he will give you rest. And, I think it's so powerful to say. And I'm also going to say one example. I remember the night before we stopped kind of being friends, I took you to church. Yeah. And you enjoyed it. And after that, you were like, I want to kind of get to know more about Jesus. And I was like, okay. And I had an extra Bible, and I gave it to you. And you were like, oh, thank you. And obviously, it's still with you. But, and then the next day, we stopped being friends. Yeah. And I found that such a coincidence that God did. And not just for me, but for you too. And it just reminded me that, I think that he still has a plan for you, whether you see it or you don't. You may think that you're not that type of person right now. But I believe that he's still, he's never going to stop having his hand over your life, whether you believe it or not, because you still have conviction. Mm-hmm. You still are aware of certain things. And obviously you still have that Bible. And you could have gotten rid of that, but you haven't. And I think that obviously when that night after you came home from church and you were like, you were kind of interested, I believe that was part of you. I was just saying how I believe that that was kind of a little bit of God's way of tugging on your heart, but I don't know. Just you don't have to follow him if you don't want to, but it was just my opinion and my take on that. But I'll just tell you, I was the same way.
And I feel like he definitely helped me, because at some point I did some really not bad things, but I did some sins and stuff, some of them, and I really really regret those, from the bottom of my heart, even from even from this day, I still regret it. I feel bad for the people that, everything that happened. And I feel ever since that happened, I changed. Something in me kind of changed. I don't know. I feel just something in me changed. I became a nicer person. I don't really do that. I still do sins, obviously, but I don't do really really bad ones, lying. Obviously I kind of lie sometimes about certain things, but that's really all. I used to do more sins, but now I don't. So I feel a little something in me kind of changed, which I think is good.
Yeah. But that's kind of, I think what.
Sorry, if I'm looking at my phone, I'm looking at my dad's.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of what we all kind of used to struggle with, and stuff like that, thinking that we didn't need God.
It's 4 minutes away.
But
by the way.
yeah.
Sorry, you can cut that.
No, it's okay. But that's kind of our view. I hope this podcast helped you. And we'll probably see you again someday. But goodbye.
Bye.
Well, bye. This is so great.